It's all good.
Meeting room will come to order. We're now holding the May 12th, 2025 meeting of the Cumberland County Fiscal Court, 4 p.m. Central Time. This time, I'll ask our magistrate from District 2 to lead us in a word of prayer, please.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we humble ourselves before you, Lord, at this time. Thank you for this day and all that you've blessed us with, Lord. We're just thankful that you've continued to bless us, Lord, and we give you the praise and glory for everything you do for us, Lord. Lord, we ask for guidance as we go through this meeting. Pray that you would just give us the wisdom and knowledge we need to make decisions that are well informed and will be for the betterment of our community, Lord. Lord, we just pray for the leaders of our state, the leaders of our great country, Lord. We just pray for them and pray that they would always look to thee for guidance in their decisions that they have to make, Lord. Lord, we pray for those who are sick here today. We pray, Lord, that if it's your will, that you would just touch them and restore their health to them, Lord. And Lord, we also pray for those who have lost loved ones, Lord, and we just ask that you would just comfort their hearts in their time of loss, Lord. Lord, we just pray and ask that you would just forgive us of our sins. We know that we sin and fall short of doing the things that you would have us to do, Lord. And we also pray that when we're done with this life, that you would give us a home in heaven. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
If you would, join us in a pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. This time I'll call the roll. This will also serve as a mic check. Magistrate District 1. Here. Magistrate District 2.
Here.
Magistrate District 3.
Here.
Magistrate District 4.
Here.
County Attorney Coleman Hurt has indicated that he's in a trial right now. He will be here as soon as possible. Gentlemen, you have in your packets the meeting minutes drafted from the April 29th meeting. It's a special called meeting. Is there a motion to approve those as presented?
So moved.
So moved by the Magistrate District 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Magistrate District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to Departmental Reports, Public Official Reports. Road Supervisor Ricky Melton first, please.
Good evening, everyone. You got the drive forward completed, and they can drive that forward in order to that. So that's a plus there. We got the water line across there. Everything went really good.
Great.
Got it on time. No delays. So everything's going good with that. The mowing, if everybody's wondering where we're at, what's going on, we're in District 1 mowing. We had a few little hydraulic problems, breakdowns, but we're struggling through them, through it. We'll get back to rolling open, and we're coming your way, this thing on.
Any questions for our road supervisor? Thank you very much, Ricky. Moving on to EM Director, Mr. Greg Carey.
I just want to report that we've actually, it's budget time, as you all know, myself and Stacy work, we've got our annual agreement for code red on, so to get the maintenance done on those things. And we should not have to have much this time because all the batteries were replaced this last fiscal year. So we shouldn't even have to purchase a battery this time for all the signs. And we've got the code red contract actually comes up the first renewal next fiscal year, the 1st of July. And of course, they always give us time to pay it after our new fiscal year starts. So we've been working on the budget.
Appreciate all your work on the budget too. Any questions for EM Director Greg Carey? ABC Officer Junior Smith.
Afternoon. Good. Month of March. Alcohol sales, $115,488.99. Year to date, $229,032.72. to my knowledge, I think I know we've added one license last month. Hopefully that'll be increased.
Any questions for ABC Officer Junior Smith? Thank you very much, Chief. Cumberland County Jailer Thomas J. Brown.
Thomas J. Brown, Cumberland County Jailer. In April, we had a total of 66 Romans, 55 to Adair, 1 to Illenger, Kentucky, next to Cincinnati, 4 to Taylor, 3 to Byron, 1 to Warren, 1 to Lexington, 1 to Law, for a total of 4,714 miles. As of the first day of the month, we had 29 in Adair. As of today, we have 34. There was a total of 14 on home incarceration for 250 days, saving the county approximately 9,000 jail days.
Any questions for our jailer? Mr. Jailer, I want to also thank you and your team for what you all did going to Missouri over the weekend. You didn't get to enjoy much of your weekend because you had to travel to Missouri, so appreciate you making those sacrifices to do those duties.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Burkesville Mayor Laurel Irving. Cumberland County Sheriff Keaton Williams. County Court Clerk Brian Morgan. Thank you for being here, sir. PDA Ms. Jeannie Shea Watson. Thank you for being here, PDA Watson. County Coroner Gary White. County Attorney Coleman Hurt, again, is in trial. He'll be with us soon. Civics Club Judge Executive Sadie Artimer. And at this time, Dr. Elijah Wilson, if you would also come forward. I know you and the Civics Club, IDA, Tourism, and Chamber are working on something coming up after the judge's report. If you'll remind us of that, please.
For just 1 meeting this month, we have served 192 households. I would also like to thank the court for their consideration with the internship applications, because that'll be coming up soon during the meeting. And with the ending of the school year, we have many graduating seniors, so we are all very proud of them, and the club wishes them well for their future. Lastly, I would like to recognize Jordan McClung, our treasurer. As we all know, he's worked incredibly hard to get into Harvard, and he has been accepted. He has gotten to be aired on so many statewide news stations and has given Cumberland County a lot of positive media attention, and so we are very thankful for that.
Any questions for the Civics Club Judge? If not, Dr. Wilson, you're up.
Yeah, so I'd like to invite members of the court and members of the general public to join us in an engaging and interactive community forum hosted by the Explore Cumberland County Alliance, which includes the Chamber of Commerce, the Industrial Development Authority, Tourism Commission, Extension Service, and I would also include our Civics Club in that as well. We're going to be reviewing the findings from the Burkesville Cumberland County Community Assessment conducted by Blueprint Kentucky, formerly known as the University of Kentucky Community and Economic Development Initiative of Kentucky. Their in-depth study evaluates our local economy, workforce infrastructure, and industrial recruitment successes, providing a data-driven foundation for future growth and collaboration. Blueprint Kentucky staff will present key insights from the assessment covering economic data, business recruitment strategies, and an external evaluation of our community's strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. This forum is more than just a presentation. The event is designed to facilitate meaningful discussion among community members, leaders, and stakeholders. This 90-minute session goes beyond simply sharing results. Using live interactive technology, attendees will engage in real-time polling, participate in small group discussions, and collaborative brainstorming to validate key findings and identify actionable priorities for community and economic development based on the data presented. The goal is for community members, leaders, and stakeholders to identify shared priorities, actionable projects, and collaborative strategies to enhance economic development and support local businesses in Burkesville and throughout Cumberland County. This is your opportunity to help shape the next chapter for Burkesville and Cumberland County. Whether you're a community leader, business owner, or engaged resident, your insights will play a critical role in aligning visioning, defining shared goals, identifying strategic projects, and prioritizing future partnerships that will strengthen our economy and enhance our quality of life. This forum is hosted by the Cumberland County Alliance. The meeting date is May the 20th at 4 o'clock at Veterans Community Center. And please, help us get out the word and invite all interested community members and of course use elected officials to help be able to join us as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wilson, and I do hope that we'll all try to be there. I have put that on our Cumberland County team calendar, so all of us, as well as all members of the Cumberland County team, have access to that as a good reminder also. Thanks for putting it together. Before we move on to a representative from the Cumberland County Water District, I want to take a moment for the people that are in the crowd. This is for your benefit. I know the folks online will be able to see this part later. But if we could, all of our Cumberland County Civics Club seniors who just graduated, if you would, please stand up and be recognized at this time. Help me give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. You may be seated. These folks, they have gone out of their way, and I mean this in a very kind, very complimentary way, but they have gone out of their way to be the ambassadors across Kentucky in what could potentially be perceived as somewhat of a nerdy student organization. So I do appreciate that you all have taken an interest in this, and not just taken an interest in it, but an active role in this. You have served as excellent role models and examples for the underclassmen and those folks who are not yet at Cumberland County High School and not yet involved in the Cumberland County Civics Club. So appreciate your all's leadership, and we wish you all well on your future. Mr. Michael Ballard with Cumberland County Water District, if you would please come forward and give a report.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll give you a quick update of what we've been doing. It's been 9 months since I've been there, and it's been very challenging, very busy, but things are really looking up at the water company. I want to give a couple updates first before we get into this. The Maribone Water Project, which we just received a huge grant for, we're hoping to break ground in August or September because everybody had been working so hard before it was shovel ready, and so we got the grant and we're ready to roll. We're probably going to be bidding that. That's probably going to be bid sometime in June, and hopefully we'll break the ground in August or September. So that's huge for us with the grant, of course. The Adair County tie-in is when you guys approved for the water company. This before my time. You guys approved for the big bore where we tied on to Adair County up 704. There's been a few issues with that, but all that's been ironed out. Everything's good. We had it shut off because we were laying the new line across the low water forward that you guys just poured in the cement. And we actually sleeved that with some casing, put the line through it, and we should never have a problem. And I just talked to them, they seem to have plenty of water pressure. And so everybody's tied on up there. It's serving about 200 customers now in Adair County, so that worked out really well for everybody. So, one thing that we've tried to do is plug a lot of further vernacular with the water company would say leaks. So we plugged in a lot of the leaks with funding and money and funds and such as that. We've really been busy and proactive, and we've saved the water customers a lot of money. And I just want to give the magistrates and the public an update on that. Now, like I said, this didn't happen overnight. It's been an ongoing process, but it's been some huge accomplishments. The first big thing is when I first arrived, the surcharge money that everybody pays, this is a mandate from PSC. It's called the surcharge tax, and that's on everybody's water bill. That goes into this. It goes into a fund, and you use that fund for water loss control. When I arrived, there was like $80-some thousand in there that we couldn't touch, so I began working with our engineers and the PSC, and now it's up to $110,000 plus, but we've got it approved now for starting to be able to use those funds. And what we are going to start with is we have about 20 zone meters out in the county that just keeps up with water coming in and dispersing all these different places. Well, for years, I guess for the whole time, the process has been an employee has to take a pickup truck, and we're paying them 4 hours a day, every day, to go physically read those meters. been a huge cost to the county over, like I said, it's always been that way. So we got with our engineers, and we're now gonna be reading those with cellular reading. And what that means is that we can sit at the office, our computers at the office, the guys at the plant, with our laptops, as long as that phone meter location has a cell signal. We took the engineers into these companies, we went to every one, and there's strong signal there. All but one, that's the new one in 704, so that's okay. I worked out a deal with the Dare County Water Department. They're gonna read it 3 days, we're gonna read it 3 days. So we're still not running up there, we're gonna communicate back and forth. So what that entitles is, we're starting with 10 new zone meters. And the ones that are in the ground now are very old, and I know they're not reading correctly because they're like everything, they wear out. So we're gonna get new master meters, zone meters with these 10 of those. They're about $3,500 each. So we'll get 10 of those, and then we'll get the 20 cellular read antennas, which those are about $200 per location. And in that, we get the reading system to where we can read it. And then we're also going to get in this master plan, it's through Nico Solutions. That's the one, or Neptune, Nico, they're the same company. That's about $52,000. But it's, when you think of sending a pickup every day for 4 hours and paying someone, it's going to send pay for itself. So that's one of the big things. And also in the surcharge, we're going to be getting upfront about 150 water meters, residential water meters. When I arrived, they had no water meters. They were behind on water meters. Public Service Commission was wanting 300 changed out because you had to change them out every 10 years. We didn't have any money to buy any. So with this surcharge account, we're going to be getting 150 up front, 150 new antennas, and then every month thereon we'll be getting about 40 to 50 every month from here till whenever we stop the surcharge. So now we're going to have a constant rotate of new water meters in, which meters are our cash register. We have to have those. That's why it's important to get these zone meters reading correct and these new residential meters.
And that's 40 to 50, you said, per month?
Yes, it'll be every month rolling in, 40 to 50. Like I said, you know, it's up now to 110,000. When we first started getting with PSC get this, we had about 85,000. So every month, just depends on what the tax is. Like last month was $7,900. That goes straight into this account, and it goes to this program here. We don't buy trucks with it. We don't pay people with it. It's straight into buying this water loss control stuff. So it's a big deal to us. So everything is going to Vegas now. And also in savings, the employees have, with our Mueller brand water meters that everybody has now, it's the dial-ons when you see them. Those have a warranty of 20 years. Well, at 10 years, they're total replacement warranty. And I don't know why it hadn't been done, but they were laying around at the shop. We had some out in the ground. So we got numbers, we started looking, and we actually got $53,029.14 worth of new meters came in that we didn't pay a cent for. They were warranted. So that's just, that was huge for us. That's including antennas and new meters. So we're working hard. We're trying to we want to be open. We want to be answering anybody's questions that we can. We're constantly working with water laws, trying to improve. We're improving everything we can. So just bear with us. If you have any questions, call me, see me out. I'm happy to answer any question I can. Now we are going into a rate study. You're supposed to do them every so many years. We hire an engineering firm to do that. That's just started, so I don't know. It could mean a raise in rates somewhere towards the end of the year. It's just whatever we have to do what PSC says. So when you see a rate increase or you see this rule or that, we're totally ruled by the Public Service Commission. So that's just, we have to do what they say. If they say your rates are too low, you need to raise it 5% or 10% or 20%. That's just what we have to do. So it's just a way of keeping up with inflation such as that. So.
Michael, I appreciate your leadership and the service of the Cumberland County Water District. I know that there have been a lot of bumps in the way. This administration is well aware of bumps that might be in the way, so we appreciate that you all are pushing through that, and appreciate that you're doing that in a way that is transparent coming to report to us today. We know that's not always comfortable when there are things that are less than ideal, but today you brought forth a lot of good news, and we appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate the magistrates and you, Judge, you've been a good asset to me, and Stacy worked with me on this tax stuff. So everybody just helps everybody, Ricky and I work good together, Greg, so it's just all a team effort, that's what we're here for.
100% agree.
Come up in the customer, that's what we're here for.
Members of the court, do you have any questions or comments for the General Manager of the Water District? Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Moving on to old business, notice of tornado shelter ribbon cutting. Any questions that you might have for Greg or I, you're free to ask those. This is more or less mentioning for all of you that are in attendance today, those that are watching online later, and then specifically members of the Court, Cumberland County team, and then the Maribone Volunteer Fire Department. I would like for everybody to mark their calendars May the 19th. That will be over in District 4. Magistrate District 4 will host us that afternoon, evening, 5:30 p.m. We will have a ribbon cutting that has been several years in the making, and we're finally at the point where, as of today, and Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but as of today, Greg has gone over to the tornado shelter. He has checked the doors. He's worked with dispatch to make sure that everything is communicating the way that it should. That shelter is now operational. Not wishing for bad weather, but now if we have bad weather, I am wishing that people use the shelter. So please get word out to folks. We will be issuing a press release on that, a formal statement after the ribbon cutting with the picture of all those in attendance, and a formal thank you to specifically the Maribone Volunteer Fire Department. Gentlemen, any questions about that? Greg, anything you'd like to add on that? Very good. Moving on to letter B, status on discussion about the intra-local agreement regarding county prisoners. We do have an update on this from the Kentucky State Auditors. You all will recall seeing this on the agenda a few times now. The jailer and I had met with the auditors out of Frankfurt. They gave us an update on something that he nor I knew anything about. It was a change from 2017. We are working through that right now. He and I will report back to you at the June meeting with a little bit more information on that. Appreciate the jailer and his continued effort as we try to get something together there that's going to work long-term for the taxpayers of Cumberland County. So, Mr. Jailer, thank you very, very much for all your effort. Letter C, report on the State Tire Amnesty Days. Some of you may have heard this from the radio program today, read it in the Cumberland County News last week. I am very, very proud of Cumberland County Road Department and all the taxpayers in Cumberland County who took advantage of our State Tire Amnesty Day. Most of you probably know this, but for those of you who don't or may be a little confused about it, Cumberland County only has 6,000 citizens here. Those 6,000 citizens brought over 3 tractor-trailer loads of tires to get rid of in those 3 days. McQuarrie County, Kentucky, according to the service provider, the tire service provider there who takes all of these tires off, McQuarrie County has roughly 27,000 citizens, and they had just over 2 tractor-trailer loads of tires. So special thanks to all of you in this room for getting the word out, and all of Cumberland County taxpayers and all members of the Cumberland County Fiscal Court for getting those tires here during those 3 days. That was an expense that was borne by the state. The only expense that we had out of that was naturally our employees' wages and then the advertisement in the Cumberland County News. So appreciate all of that teamwork, as Michael Ballard mentioned from the Water Department there, in making that a success. Any questions on that, gentlemen? Moving on to letter D, this is put on here as an FYI, Budget Amendment number 6, second and final reading. You'll notice, as we've done for 28 months now, if you have a first reading that shows up in new business 1 month, it is expected that you'll have a second and final reading show up in old business the second month. We do have to wait on those budget amendments, though, to hear back from the state. Eugenia, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we got that in the mail today from Frankfurt, right? So even though we have that back, it came in the mail today, that has not been advertised. They do have to be advertised before we can vote on those. So you will see that again in old business next month or at our next meeting after that has been advertised. Any questions on that, gentlemen? Moving down to the next letter there on Homer Grider Road project update. Master District 1, I'll be coming to you for this, but before I do that, I'd like to ask those three that are most affected by that project, if you would, any of you, like to come forward at the podium to say a couple remarks.
Good evening, I'm Donna Abner, my Aunt Dottie Gibson, and my husband Nick. We live on Homer Grider Road. As some of y'all know, back about 3 months ago, we lost our bridge, our only way in and out to go anywhere. And we do have a suspended swing and walk bridge. It's been there for many, many years that we could go in and out with. I called our magistrate, Rhonda Ray, and as I normally do when we have a big rain, and I call him and say, hey Rhonda, we got debris on the bridge, can you send the guys out so we can get out? This time I called him and I said, well, you don't have to worry about coming out. I said, because there ain't no bridge. And he was kind of dumbfounded, and then he come out and saying that there was no bridge. We could not go anywhere. Between him and all the magistrates and the county judge, I want to thank you all for all your help and everything y'all have done for us. We wouldn't be able to get out today. We just finally got out Thursday, Friday. We were able to finally drive across the bridge. No more walking the bridge and carrying groceries. But we especially want to thank Rhonda Ray. Would you stand, please? He has went above and beyond all measures. You have really stepped up and you have really helped us.
Thank you.
And it's what a real Kentuckian means. I've been coming down here, I just moved down here, we did, 5 years ago. He's never been down here until almost 20 years ago. And he was like, what do you like coming down here for? Well, for one, my family has been here for over probably 150 years. My great Aunt Ines used to own a grocery store, Smith Grocery, where the new Justice Center is. I come down here, I'm the only one in my family that's moved down here. But I come down here because I love it down here. It is peaceful, it's quiet, everybody's friendly. He says, who's that? Because somebody waved at me, and I said, I don't know. He goes, well, they waved at you. I said, that's what everybody does down here. I said, it's just a wonderful place to live. I also want to thank Greg Carey, I want to thank Ricky and his road crew. I want to thank the Cumberland County Water District for their help. We had a couple of doors and windows that showed up that we physically couldn't get across the creek, and they got it across the creek for us. So I extend my sincere, heartfelt thank you to all of y'all involved. We thank you very, very much. I don't know if my aunt or my cousin wants to say anything, but just say thank you.
Where's that? Yeah, this guy did.
Yeah, we want to thank him.
This guy got in there, I mean, it was like 2 days, they were really good.
But Ronald, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
Thank y'all for being patient with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will share this with the people online and here in the public. The folks that this most affected, they know it already, and Ronald certainly knows this. When this happened, this was halfway through our fiscal year, over halfway through our fiscal year. And Master District 1 had a decision to make. Every year, with their very limited funds, they have to take care of their entire district. Magistrate District 1, just over halfway through the year, made the decision to use $10,000 of his allotment. That's 33% of his allotment to make sure that in the event of an emergency, these people can get out. Now, that by itself is admirable, Rhonda, and I don't know that you've received enough credit for that. But what is worth mentioning here, and he's probably not going to tell you, he's probably too modest to say this, but Rhonda now, as a result of that $10,000 that he used to help you all, his allotment now is flat broke. So that means that Rhonda is doing everything he can to be creative without having to negatively affect any other member of the court or the Cumberland County Road Fund having to pull that money from anywhere else. He's making do in his district like any of us would have to do if that had happened in our district. So Rondell, I know that could not have been easy for you. I appreciate how you have gone above and beyond and continue to make the best of a really bad situation. Thank you very much for doing that, sir. At this time, we'll move to the notice of dumpster availability for Memorial Day flowers, May 14th, 17th, and 22nd, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you would, mark your calendars on those days. If you or someone you know takes care of a cemetery that's not on the county road system, I need your help here. From 9 to 3 on all 3 of those days, one of those is a Saturday, so that frees up some folks who have weekday obligations. You will be permitted to bring those artificial flowers or real flowers over to the Cumberland County Annex, formerly known as the Recycling Center, and throw those flowers away there at no additional charge to you. It's only for artificial flowers and real flowers that were used to decorate the graves. Please do not bring other things. This is not a full-fledged dumpster day. We're not taking couches, chairs, and things of that nature. We're only taking those artificial flowers. Gentlemen, do you have any questions regarding those artificial flower dumpster days? And again, to the general public and those watching, this is coming from your members of the Fiscal Court who they understand there's a lot of eyes on us right now with everything that we've had to deal with from the state and the federal folks on some of this funding. They want to continue to be able to support the taxpayers of Cumberland County, but we have to do it within the legal confines that they've set for us. They very clearly said, you're not allowed to be on a road that's not a county road. You're not allowed to work on property that's private property, not public property. So that's why, as a public benefit, Cumberland County Fiscal Court is offering these 3 dumpsters at no additional charge for those cemetery boards or private citizens to bring those to discard. Gentlemen, any final comments on that? If not, let's move on to letter G under old business. Gentlemen, at this time, if you would, pull this folder. Open that folder. Look to the left of that folder. Simon says take the paper clip off the left side of that folder. You'll notice we have several applicants here for the Cumberland County Internship Program. I've made no bones about it saying that I think that this is the most long-term meaningful thing that this administration has done and frankly will do. I'm very proud of our existing interns. I'm exceptionally excited about our incoming interns. I will tell you, I've had multiple conversations with our regional partners and our state partners about this program. You'll recall last year, we had 5 Cumberland County interns, and that was pushing the envelope. That was something that had never been done before. We were blazing that trail, and that was a lot of people. That was a lot of funding that the state had agreed. $3,000 per student intern is what they would reimburse Cumberland County for. This year, they have agreed that if we will take all of these 10 applicants and do with them and for them what we have done for the previous cycle of student interns, that they are willing to cover the cost of all 10. That's a big deal. You all have went out of your way, spent time that frankly you didn't have, and to Master District 1 point, sometimes personal funds that you didn't have, to try to make sure that each of these young people had an experience that will make them who they are 20 years from now, so that they can turn right around and invest in another crop and another generation of young people who we hope will be running and guiding Cumberland County at that point. So, with that being said, given that the regional and state partners have agreed to accept all of these folks into their program that they're funding with us, I would nominate Mr. Evan Stotts for a continuation of the internship program, Ms. Raylan Costello as a new student intern, Ms. Emily Fulton as a new student intern, Ms. Erica Branham as a new student intern, Ms. Presley Fletcher as a new student intern, Mr. Skylar Kern as a new student intern, Mr. Tyler Thacker as a returning student intern, Ms. Abby Elmore as a new student intern, Ms. Sadie Arterburn as a returning student intern, Mr. Aiden Capps as a returning student intern. Gentlemen, at this time, all 10 of those applicants, I believe, will rise to the occasion. At this time, on the record, and Madam Clerk, if you would please, if they say yes, then make sure that this is recorded in the meeting minutes. I would like for all of those interns, potential interns, nominated interns that I just named to please stand. I would like for you all to all commit by saying "I do" and nodding your head in the affirmative that you will in fact adhere to the Cumberland County Administrative Code, the incredibly high, and I know they're incredibly high standards of the existing Cumberland County Judge Executive, and that you will, to the best of your ability, represent Cumberland County favorably, not only while you're on the clock, but while you're off the clock during your internship, and then after you graduate from this program and go throughout the rest of your life. Do you agree? If so, say "I do" and nod your head.
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. Gentlemen, you've now heard from all of them. I think, Mr. County Attorney, if you would tell me if I'm correct, that's a verbal contract, is it not? So that,
I think so.
that they have to do that now. They have to make us look good for the rest of their lives now. So, gentlemen, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to bring on all of our newest, youngest team members into the Cumberland County fold.
Motion.
So moved by Magistrate District 1. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Magistrate District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Congratulations, your orientation will be on Wednesday. It will be rough, but worth it. Thank you very much. Moving on to new business, budget transfers. Gentlemen, you have in your packet those budget transfers as prepared by Ms. Eugenia Ferguson. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
So moved by the Magistrate District 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Magistrate District 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Letter B, cash transfers. Gentlemen, you also have those in your packet. Cash transfer from the general fund to the jail fund in the amount of $45,000. Cash transfer from the ARPA fund to the general fund in the amount of $84.98. Stacy Thrasher, please correct me. You're our county treasurer. As county treasurer, correct me if I'm wrong on the $84.98. That's just the remaining interest that when you was coming to get that over, take care of it. Is that correct? Thank you very much, Madam Treasurer. Is there a motion to approve the cash transfers? So moved by Magistrate District 3. Is there a second? Seconded by Magistrate District 2. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Occupational tax refund. This is in excess of $750 annually that Cumberland County taxpayers pay through the occupational tax. We have refunds in the amount of $1,388.34. Is there a motion to refund those payments?
So moved.
So moved by the Magistrate District 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Magistrate District 4. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Letter D, the warrants. Gentlemen, you were sent out the warrants in advance of this meeting. These are our bills. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
Motion.
So moved by the Magistrate District 1, seconded by the Magistrate District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
No.
Motion passes.
Judge, if
Yes,
I
sir.
could, I'd like to address, the court in regard to why I voted no on paying the warrants.
Yes, sir.
Some of the invoices on page 18 of the warrants, they involve charges totaling more than $99,000 from EUDS Consulting, of which some of those charges predated me coming onto the court in January 2023. Some of them as far back as 2022. And, while we ask for work product on these invoices, we've received such vast amount into the hundreds of thousands of pages, hundreds or thousands, even thousands of pages. You know, it's gonna take a while to go through every one of those. And until I have time to review each and every one of those, there's just too much uncertainty for me to give my approval on this.
Master District 2, your objection is noted. Madam Clerk, if you would, please make sure that that is included in the minutes. To your point, Master District 2, as a refresher for those watching and those that are here, the referenced invoices were from the former FEMA consulting firm. Those invoices, some of them did go back to 2022. Naturally, we're in 2025 right now, so they're 2022 up until that contract with that consulting firm ended. We did, I think 2.5-ish months ago, reach out, around 2 months ago, reach out to the consulting firm with 2 requests. First question was, we would like to know if we do pay these $99,000 in invoices, can you confirm this will be the very last time that Cumberland County taxpayers, as Cumberland County Fiscal Court, will be billed for services from that consulting company? The answer to that was the affirmative. The answer was yes. Follow-up request was to provide the work product that was identified in each of those invoices where it had X number of hours and X number of dollars per hour working on ABC Road. We needed to see what that work product was. The reason that that's so important, and I want people to understand, this is not just me being difficult or Cumberland County Fiscal Court being difficult. For the last 28 months, I mean, it's no surprise to anybody here that we are trying our absolute best to make sure that with KYEM, Kentucky Emergency Management, and FEMA, that we give them everything that they ask for as far as documentation when it comes to how much did you spend on this road, how much did you spend on that road. Unfortunately, a lot of those questions have had to be answered with a great deal of uncertainty and ambiguity. That is not ideal when you're working with taxpayer funds at the local level, the state level, or the federal level. When we received the information that we requested, the consulting firm, they did provide that. They did communicate with us on an extension for that because they needed extra time to compile those documents to get those to us so that we could review them. We naturally then needed time to review those documents. They did extend an additional 2 days. Those invoices were previously set to be due on the 10th of this month. Today, you'll notice on your calendars, it's the 12th. They agreed to keep us from having to hold a special call meeting that we could debate, discuss, and decide on those invoices at this meeting. Several members of the court, if not all, you all can correct me if I'm wrong, I think all members of the court at this point have looked at some of those documents that were sent over by that former consulting firm. But just to put this into perspective, and District 2 don't think that I'm trying to tell you you're wrong on the hundreds or even 1,000 pages, but today, in anticipation of maybe folks wanting to know how many pages we're talking about, I can tell you in a very quick overview, we quickly hit 10,000 pages. That's not all the pages, but we quickly hit 10,000 pages. Now, I want folks to understand that it is important to every member of this court that when we expend those taxpayer funds, we are doing so in a way that if you ask any of us, why this, why that, how this, how that, we want to be able to answer that, and we want to be able to show you what we did in such a way that you're proud that your taxpayer dollars went to a particular investment or purchase. On those invoices, I don't want anybody here or anybody watching later to think that just because those invoices have now been determined to be paid, that means that those tens of thousands of pages of documents no longer get looked at. Those are something that we've requested going back over a year ago when the first audit occurred, and that's something we can talk about later. Feel free to ask Stacy Thrasher as the county treasurer, Eugenia Ferguson, finance officer, Ricky Mountain as road supervisor, or Greg Carey as EM director. We have all, as a management team, been involved in those discussions to make sure that we understand where those expenses were incurred so that we submit them and get the appropriate reimbursement. Folks have asked us for quite some time, well, how much do we owe back to KYM? How much do we owe back to FEMA? It is not a cop-out answer, and I'm not trying to be coy when I say I don't know. I can tell you, we are trying to determine that number. We've done 4 sets of projects. Those are 4 different roads. They came back, they asked us for 11 more. We've done those 11. When you get all of those invoices, all of those time cards, and you sit down, some of you that have been in this office for the last couple of months have seen this table and that table full of all of that documentation. It's not an enjoyable process, but it is a necessary process. And I want you to know we appreciate your patience with us as we've gone through this and we continue to go through this to make sure that we are doing everything that we can do to get all of that straightened up and reported back to you as soon as possible. You will hear from us later on in the budget discussion, something that I'm quite proud of. We intend to pay back over $300,000 in this year on FEMA debt. That's something that I think we can all be proud of, because as a taxpayer, a small business owner, private citizen, or member of the court, paying down your debt is something that we should be pretty aggressive and ambitious about. And I'm very pleased to say each and every member of this court has done that. I appreciate you doing that. And with that, any questions that any members of the general public might have, I'm happy to try to answer those after this meeting or any time that fits with your schedule. I want you to know that we have been extremely transparent. I give all of these folks credit for that, and we will continue to do so. So thank you for your understanding on this and taking a very complicated issue and understanding it as we go along with us. Thank you all very much. Gentlemen, anything further from the court? Yes.
I just want to say, what you said was true. I've sat several hours behind this desk and my desk at home. And it's difficult going through all those. And then with all these, the work product to try to look through, there just hasn't been enough time. And while I wasn't opposed to the rest of the budget, I did have concerns about that. So I just wanted to make that known.
I appreciate that very much, District 2. Moving on to letter E under new business, the Humphrey Hollow project bid opening. At this time, I'm pleased to report we have 2 bids from 2 companies. I will not attempt to open these without a letter opener, so give me 15 seconds to grab my letter opener. If our youngest team members would please come forward and be prepared to make copies, that would be great also. Keep us from having to pass these back and forth, just one copy at a time, which was a novel idea from our last court meeting, and I appreciate that. All right, our first bid comes from Kelvin Wilson Dozing. Would like to say a thank you to Kelvin Wilson Dozing for the work that they did on the Homer Driver project. We have from Kelvin Wilson Dozing, proof of insurance, which is required, and a design. And sir, the picture that you've included, is that an example of what you're proposing?
Yeah.
It is, okay? While I read off these bids, if you would please go ahead and make copies of those. We need 4 copies. Mr. County Attorney, would you like a copy of those?
No, I'm fine with this, thank you.
If there's anything legally questionable,
I can cheat off Jeff's finding.
Okay. So we have a bid from this company of $74,500 from Kelvin Wilson Dozing This is for a new box culvert, 16 by 30 by 4, includes all material, plus labor, plus equipment. 2 approaches, 30 by 15, those are feet, 30 feet by 15 feet by 8 inches. Thank you very much. And I'd like for you to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but is this a separate second bid for equipment and labor only? Is that correct? A second separate bid for equipment and labor only, keeping in mind it's perfectly permissible to do so that we save on sales tax for the work product that's being used for Cumberland County taxpayers. $47,000 even. $47,000 even. Gentlemen, the copies are being made right now of your proof of insurance, the design, and the illustration. Mr. Capps, if you would please come forward and make copies of these actual bids, please. Thank you very much. Yes, road supervisor recommended.
In his bid, is that the demolition of the existing?
Can you look at me and say that again, sorry?
He's to do the demolition of the existing.
Okay.
That's there. Take
Yeah.
it out,
Taking out the existing structure.
yes, and we're to do
Thank you, Tom.
the detour.
The
County
detour.
is to put in this pipe or the road or whatever we got to do to work around him while he's doing his project. Keep
And,
rolling.
and gentlemen,
So there'll be a little cost there.
yeah, you all will see that you're looking at the illustration, the proof of insurance, and the design now. What Ricky's talking about, and the question that was asked and answered, you will see, take a look at the middle chair here for a minute. You will see on this estimate, at the very bottom of this estimate, it's going to tell you what Cumberland County is responsible for. Furnishing the concrete, rebar, backfill, and the temporary road. Okay, and the gentlemen behind you are getting those ready. They'll hand those out to you once those copies are ready. Cumberland County Fiscal Court, bid for Humphrey Hollow Bridge, Bean Excavating, Stephen Bean. Tyler, design specs and proof of insurance. To whom it may concern, this proposal is submitted by Bean Excavating for the full construction and installation of a concrete bridge structure. The scope now includes the addition of 2 wing walls with all materials, labor, equipment, and site services incorporated in the pricing below. Total cost range, this is an interesting way to do this. Never seen this, so this is good. The total cost range, including wing walls, the low end estimate, $82,085.08. Now, thank you, Tom. The high end estimate, $88,941.92. So Judge, hold up, that's not a bid, that's a low end estimate and a high end estimate. Well, he has below that proposed lump sum contract price of his bid, $85,500. It is what I believe to be, and this is an assumption, nothing more, nothing less, but by providing those low end and high end estimates, I suppose he wants to show us that he's not low end, he's not high end, he's splitting that difference. All work will be completed per scope above and include labor, materials, equipment, and project management. Terms and contract, this proposal is valid for 30 days and assumes standard site conditions. Unforeseen conditions or scope changes may require a written change order. We look forward to the opportunity to serve you on this project. Bean Excavating, Stephen Bean owner. Make a copy of that, please. Make 4 extra copies of that, please. This bid is for track hoe, bobcat, same company. Track hoe, bobcat. I think hammer and labor. Is that what you believe that's his, hammer?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree? Okay. Track hoe, bobcat, hammer and labor. Thank you, sir. Busting concrete and tiles and blacktop up and cleaning up around the job site. Hammering rock for footers into rock. Pouring footers. Installation of box beam. Pouring retaining walls. Backfilling around the box beams. Pouring slab. Clean up. Labor, install, everything to grade. Total amount $28,750. $28,750. Mr. Capps, if you would make 4 additional copies of this, please. Gentlemen, I know that's a lot of paperwork. Try not to get those two confused in each of those stacks. Mr. County Attorney, while they're reviewing those, I'll ask you the last item of business, if you would please prepare that KRS for executive session for that. Thank you, Tyler.
Everything for me to say it. Everything for me to do it.
Gentlemen, at this time, you have both bid packets. I'd like for you to carefully consider each one of those and each bid within each one of those bid packets. Aiden, Tyler, thank you very much. You made that go very smooth. Thank you. Ricky, as Cumberland County Road Supervisor, do you have any questions for the magistrates as they consider the bids?
No, it sounds like they bid it kind of 2 ways, whether we can buy material or do a lump sum bid. On this project here, it's gonna be pretty much straightforward. It's not like a third unknown. So a turnkey bid here would be solid, I mean. To my opinion, we can go either way if you think it saves somebody, but, time we buy the concrete, we can't buy it probably much cheaper than they can, but they use those big blocks. But it's a turnkey deal, and then we don't have to haggle, we're not caught up in the middle of a bunch of stuff, but it's up to the court.
Gentlemen, did you understand that? Any questions for the road supervisor? National District 2.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, I may be missing something here, I'm not sure I've got all mine, but on the scope of work,
Yes.
this one is install 3 precast box beams, 30 inches long by 4 feet wide.
30 feet.
30 feet long by 4 feet wide, 17 inches tall. Is this all gonna be done in one pour?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yes.
Is it?
I think so, yes.
Thank you, District
How
Four.
would you say that was?
It's, these precast box beams are 30 foot long by 4 feet wide by 17 inches tall.
There must be something on there, it might be 4 feet long. They're, it's total width, spanning 16 feet. And then 30 feet of length. If it's, that's basically, that's bound to be 4 foot length, and probably what he's bidding was precast beams.
It does say precast.
Forward, and then they're just gonna bring them and set them on the side.
That particular bid in that particular packet does say precast.
But we're spending 16 feet, so that's what Calvin's bid was, and that's what we're looking for. Spending an opening of 16 feet, 4 feet high, yes. But I'm sure that what he's doing is 4 feet length, so it can handle it. That should be 16. Right, somewhere there, 16. It should be 16 or so.
And it does say further in here, forms and pours, 2 concrete indents, 3 feet wide, 4 feet tall, and 18 feet long. I don't know if that is changing your understanding of that. I'm sorry, District 2.
Well, the third there indent was construct 2 approach slabs 12 feet wide by 30 feet long by 8 inches thick. You'd think that if you're 16 foot wide, that it would have to be 16 there instead of 12 feet, wouldn't you? I mean, I'm trying to compare apples to apples, and I'm not finding the 2 apples to compare on this.
Magistrate District 4, is there anything you think we're missing on this here?
No.
It's the roadway, only a 12-foot road, so you start off with 12, it's gonna take you into the, the box thing, so.
And Magistrate District 4, I know, I gave a great deal of credit to District 1 earlier, you deserve a great deal of credit on this. This has been something that didn't start 2, 3, 4 months ago. This was multiple years ago. I appreciate you hanging in there and continuing to push for this. I am very glad that we're at a bid opening on this project. I know that particular part of roadway has been plagued with a lot of blacktop washing off there. Do you believe that providing either of these structures and concrete over top of that cures that problem? I think over the long term, we're gonna save money.
Oh, yeah.
Concrete there, so. I appreciate your leadership on this, Magistrate District 4. Gentlemen, any other questions or comments for the group to consider?
The photo that Mr. Wilson has provided is also showing the curve of drainage on through the curve there. And
Gentlemen, I don't want to rush any of you on this. I do want to provide you with an opportunity then. There is absolutely nothing that says at a bid opening that you have to vote at that meeting on the bids that you received, because we actually got 4 bids here. So if this is something that you need extra time on, I do not want you to go rush with this amount of money. But naturally, if you have discussion or questions that need to come up on this topic in a public fashion, of course, this is the time to do that.
I'll make a motion, let's get Stephen to do it and pay the labor and let's pay the material.
Motion for Master District 4 to have Bingham's Excavation do the project at $28,750, providing the track hoe, bobcat, hammer, and labor. We provide the materials. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
So moved by the Master District 4, seconded by the Master District 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes.
I have a question on it.
District 2.
On this bid, you know, his bid was $85,500.
For the whole thing.
But he's got his labor at $28,000 for his equipment, labor, bobcat and hammer, everything. But I noticed the difference is, it looks like all his stuff is like precast stuff that he was gonna go in there with. Is he gonna want us to furnish all precast stuff? Because that might not be a savings if we go down that road. That's the thing that bothered me.
Master District 4, do you know the answer to that question?
What was it?
On his, it looks like a lot of his stuff was precast, you know, just bought.
Right.
If we have to furnish, does the county have to buy the precast?
Yeah, we're buying the material.
And we got a quote for how much the total cost.
We don't have a quote on that.
No.
I didn't vote a minute ago. I want to make that plain. I never did get out yay or nay because I was wanting to find out about that because, you know, you know how much concrete, you know, if you're going out and buying 10 yards concrete and so on and they're pouring it. But if you're going to this precast, I got into that a little bit, just pricing to see what one would cost. It's well over $100,000 to buy the precast. And that's why, you know, that labor looks good on there, but if he expects us to buy precast stuff for him to set in there, it could end up costing the county a lot more, I think.
And they don't have a crane to set it.
I'm sorry, you said
They have to have a crane to set those.
he may have to, we won't have to because that's his equipment. So I would think surely to goodness that would go in with, and I don't know that though. Jeff, can you speak to that? If there's a crane necessary. Okay.
I didn't understand how, where we got up to 16 feet open, how the dimensions that you were saying, I'm not trying to put it up, I'm just saying, you know, we don't go further than 4 foot. Code put in, you know what I'm saying? That's what you're saying, it's 4 foot.
The dimensions weren't working out on the paper for me, and that was what was confusing. That's what I was trying to find out exactly what we were. That's why I said compare apples to apples. I don't know here, but
Then we have to call it what the availability time is to get these forward, you know, to get it to the other side.
Well, we do have a motion, a second, a prevailing vote on that. I will, just for sake of making sure that if there is any reconsideration, we offer it. The way that a motion to reconsider would have to take effect, you can withdraw a motion once it's been made, but once it passes, you need to reconsider that. The only person that I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but the only person that can reconsider is the individual that made the motion. So, Jeff, if you wish to reconsider, just tell me you wish to reconsider. If not, we've got a bid, we've accepted, we're ready to move forward on that. Thank you very much, District 4. Okay, let's move on to the next letter on our agenda, letter F, under new business, public appreciation of recent work at the Veterans Memorial Community Center, also known as the Cumberland County Senior Center. These two folks that I'm getting ready to recognize, I don't think are with us here today. If you see them though, I want you to thank them. Matt Aaron, who is one of our animal control technicians, he works 20 hours a week as an animal control technician. He works 20 hours a week as a member of the Cumberland County Road Department. In his duties as a member of the Cumberland County Road Department, He assists with road duties as well as what any member of the road department would help with if they're not working on the road. That means helping with building maintenance when necessary. With the Cumberland County Cumberland County Veterans Memorial Center, the hallway in between the main meeting room and the 2 extra offices and the restrooms, that hallway is used a lot every single day by the seniors. They mentioned that it would be helpful if a rail was mounted to that wall so that not just as they walk down to the restroom or back and forth to those different meeting rooms, but also for exercise if they would have something for stability. That has been debated as far back as, I do believe, a year and a half ago when it was originally brought up at a city council meeting. I am extremely grateful for City Councilwoman Connie Cravens. If Ms. Connie watches this later, Ms. Connie, I want you to know that all members of the court appreciate what you did here. I know you probably don't want this public appreciation for it, but Cumberland County Fiscal Court in the city of Burkesville typically split any repairs or upgrades to that building, 50-50. Ms. Connie Cravens, as a councilwoman and private citizen who's been down there to speak with all of those folks, said that she wanted to give back to the Cumberland County seniors and the Veterans Memorial Center staff. She paid out of her pocket for the city's 50%. So gentlemen, if you see her, please thank her for doing that. She did not have to do that, but we appreciate her willingness to do it. That has been installed. It is operational now. So gentlemen, any questions on that agenda item? If not, let's move to letter G under new business. Some really good news here. I know that sometimes members of all fiscal courts across Kentucky are hyper excited and sensitive to blacktop numbers. Well, you have yours in front of you now. 2025-2026 rural secondary road recommendations for Cumberland County. Number 1 is for 449, that's Modoc Road. That's right past Modoc Cemetery there, where the state had to do quite a bit of work, and Cumberland County Water, I think, helped with a lot of that. That road is a little bumpy. One of our Cumberland County interns lives right there in front of it, so you should sleep better at night not having to hear all of those bumping over those sections of road. That's for 1.120 miles of asphalt. Casey Fork Road will be getting 1.00 miles of asphalt. 704 Crocus Creek, 1.20 miles of asphalt. That's a big deal, gentlemen. When you're looking at a mile of asphalt being over $100,000, that's something that we owe a great deal of gratitude to our folks in Frankfort for. Now, looking below that number, the number that you should be excited about, the Flex Fund amount for Cumberland County for the 2025-2026 year, over $280,000. Now, I know that doesn't get every single one of you 25 miles of new asphalt. But if you look at the 10 counties in our transportation district, it shouldn't surprise any of you to know we are the smallest county in our transportation district. That is not the lowest number in the 10 county area. That number is higher than 6 other counties out of the 10. That means 3 counties got more than us, and 9 counties have a higher population than us. So as you're talking with your state rep, state senator, members of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, those district representatives, please thank them and Bobby Joe Lewis at the state, Secretary of Transportation Jim Gray, for what they're making possible for Cumberland County. They have gone above and beyond time and time again, whether it's on Homer Ryder Road with emergency money or Humphrey Hollow Road with emergency money. We all, I know, appreciate them for that. So gentlemen, if you are interested in accepting over $280,000 of the state's money that they wish to give us, I need a motion to that effect. Motion made by Master District 1, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by everybody else on the court. We'll call it District 2. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Letter H, notice of road material bid advertisement. This will go quickly. As a reminder to those in the crowd and those watching later, if you're interested in bidding rock, asphalt, tiles, anything that the Cumberland County Road Department might use in the budgeted $1 million of road materials, please get those bids into us. If you want a bid packet, you can call or email or walk into this office as early as Thursday of this week to start getting those packets and start turning those in. We will open those at the June meeting. Gentlemen, any questions on that? Letter I, court consideration of Deputy Jailer Jesse Staley. I gladly accepted the nomination from our current jailer for a new deputy jailer, Mr. Jesse Staley. I do need, in order for that to be official, confirmation from the court. Is there an acceptance of that nomination?
So moved.
So moved by Master District 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Master District 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Federal Field Service Agreement that was provided in your package. Gentlemen, you've had an opportunity to look over that. These are the folks that service our sirens. Greg Carey provided this to you. Are there any questions on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to allow me to execute that agreement.
So moved.
So moved by the Master District 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Master District 4. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Commonwealth of Kentucky Court of Justice, AOC Reimbursement Agreement. That's from the folks out of Frankfurt, Administrative Office of the Courts. You see in there what they have agreed to reimburse us for. That's taking our square footage and the dollar amount also in there. In order for us to agree to accept that reimbursement from the state and provide them with that space and those deliverables, I need a motion second and a prevailing vote. Is there a motion from the court?
Motion.
So moved by the Master of District 4. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Master of District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Letter L under new business, Master District 2. I'm coming to you on this. West Allen Road, that's known as County Road 1114. My understanding that there's been some discussion on that road. Would you like to speak to that, sir?
Yes, there's been some new things brought to light, so I think we need to just wait on this and maybe discuss it at a later date.
Okay, thank you very much. So is that a motion to postpone indefinitely on that?
Yes.
So moved by the Master of District 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Master of District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Letter M, Luxury Garden Center quote for Courthouse Landscaping. Partners with Pride has been an excellent partner for Cumberland County Fiscal Court. They are our officially recognized beautification committee of Cumberland County. You'll recall, and I hope a lot of people have seen this as you drive around the courthouse at night, we have lights that illuminate the courthouse now. Spoke with the gentleman who has the contract to mow the Cumberland County Courthouse and weed eat around those lights and asked him about this morning. We have an estimate from Luxury Garden Center, that's the same company that did the lights. They're proposing to landscape around the courthouse, around those lights, where instead of having to weed eat around those, we're now less likely, not impossible, but less likely to damage those in the maintenance of the courthouse grounds. This is a one-time expense for installation, and this is also in your package, gentlemen. $4,558. Gentlemen, you will notice on there, sales tax. We are sales tax exempt, so do keep that in mind. That will be a reduction of $258 if you choose to move forward on this project. Any questions as it relates to that potential work around the courthouse and beautification of the courthouse grounds? And do remember, Partners with Pride on the lights outside, they split that bill with Cumberland County Fiscal Court 50-50. This is a project that they're proposing. They don't have it in their budget to come to us with this one, but they are asking that the court consider this beautification project. Any questions, gentlemen? If not, is there a motion from the court to proceed with the landscaping around the Cumberland County Courthouse for this amount minus the sales tax?
Motion.
So moved by the Magistrate of District 4. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Magistrate of District 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Notice of upcoming occupational tax cut resolution. Gentlemen, it's not often that we get to report to the public that the cuts that we've made, even though they have been extremely deep and they hurt in the moment, they have paid off, and they are still paying off. This is not something we can let off of the gas on. We have to continue to be ambitious about our debt reduction in order for this to work. Several of you here today were also in the room when we discussed at the State of the County address about a proposed occupational tax cut. I promised you then that I would be proposing to the court a resolution to that effect. I want you to know that that will be coming at the June meeting with the second reading and full vote of the budget. That will mean there will be an occupational tax cut when we hit 2 trigger points. This is very similar to what the Commonwealth of Kentucky is doing with their income tax, which is essentially an occupational tax. This will mean that when the Cumberland County Fiscal Court gets their liabilities down to $250,000, that means all the liabilities that we've got at that point will be $250,000, that there's a 0.125% cut in all of your occupational tax and net profits. Once we get all of the Cumberland County liabilities wiped off, and we have a $250,000 rainy day fund set aside, there will be an additional 0.125% reduction. That means we will take the current occupational tax and net profit tax of 1.25%, and in the end, that will be a 1.00 occupational tax and net profit tax. That is not a political move, that is a financially responsible move. The people of Cumberland County and all members of this court have been incredibly patient with the cuts that we've made, with the sacrifices we've made to get us to a point where I'm not sure how many other counties across the state would be able to say that they don't have any liabilities, that they don't owe for anything. I'd love for us to hit high marks there and make some headlines in a good way there and set an example. This will mean, though, that in the budget that we're going to move on to in just a moment, this will mean that we have to stay focused on that debt paydown. To the people of Cumberland County, I am now asking you to help hold each of us accountable so that you see that occupational tax and net profit tax cut. We could have waited until a period in the future, announce that rollout, then see how a certain season goes, and then that's how it's been done in the past. I do not agree with that. Perfectly permissible to do it, but I don't like it. I think it's poor form. This is something that is sustainable if done right. So, for all of you taxpayers and all members of the court, if we're looking at spending $1 million or $1 billion on something, understand, yes, that means we'll get $1 million or $1 billion of something, but if we don't have the cash for that, and we incur debt for that, that increases our liabilities. And increasing our liabilities goes in the opposite direction of a tax cut. So just please remember that when you all are advocating for big projects that you want each of your magistrates to do, your magistrates want to help you with those big projects. But purchasing a $500,000 piece of equipment sets us a little slower on that timeline of getting to those tax cuts that we all want to see. Gentlemen, any questions on that? If not, let's move into the most exciting part here, letter O, first reading of the Cumberland County Fiscal Court Budget. Gentlemen, you have that in your packets. This is the first reading. This is not a full vote on this. I do not expect you to have to answer all questions at this time or have any questions that you want to ask. You're welcome to do so, but you can also do that at the second reading or meetings in between if we have special calls that the budget's listed or committee meetings on this. I would like to draw your attention to a couple things in the budget. We're not going through this line by line. A copy of this will be provided as required by state statute. We also have to advertise this. The Tourism tax is up. We have several members of the Tourism Commission here. Thank you all for taking what used to be $70-something thousand in revenue, bringing into Cumberland County. We are now budgeting, thanks to your all's hard work, over $100,000 there, $102,000. Again, I'll stress, that is paid by the folks that are coming here and staying at Airbnbs, VRBOs, overnight motels, boat slips that have nightly rentals. That is a benefit that we receive because of the hardworking members of the Tourism Commission. I appreciate you all for all that you've done there. Would like to also point out on the second page of the revenue sheet with the budget, second page of revenue, you're going to see about a third of the way down. This is account 014806. The interest now, that's on our general fund. That's $40,000 in interest. I would like to make sure that it's reflected in the meeting minutes, Eugenia, that $40,000 is interest that Cumberland County taxpayers are earning, not that we're having to pay. The first year that we came in, we paid out over $40,000 in interest, and we made approximately $4,500 in interest. We are projecting, because of those renegotiations that you all allowed me to do with those financial institutions, $40,000 just from the general fund. Those kind of cost cuttings and revenue generating things are what is allowing us to, over on the expense side, budget $225,000 for a Cumberland County splash pad. Each and every one of these young people that you see sitting here today took a vote, voted in the affirmative to make that one of their priorities. That's part of their legacy, our legacy, as members of Cumberland County Fiscal Court and the Cumberland County team, to make sure that there's something here for the youth of Cumberland County. That is in this year's budget. And again, I want to stress, those funds are coming from our cost cuttings and the negotiating that we have done. Those funds do not come from any additional tax. Gentlemen, any questions that you might have on those quick items? You'll also notice that we have decreased over on the expenses part, the special projects manager. That has been decreased by $10,000. By $10,000. The reason for that, as I mentioned in a previous meeting, I propose that we take $10,000 of that specific line item, give that to each of these districts. That would be $2,500 per district. That would give you all an increase in your allotment. Now, I understand, and this is perfectly reasonable. If I were sitting in your all's shoes, I'd probably make the same point. $2,500 doesn't go as long as $25,000. I'll grant you that. But we need to put ourselves in the shoes of all of those people out there. Each of those people over the course of, say, last year, CPI, Consumer Price Index, that's inflation. It went up roughly 3.0% last year. So for the people living on a fixed income, for the people that's Social Security, pensions, what have you, for those people that are counting on a cost of living adjustment, they got maybe 3.0%. I'm proposing to the court an additional $2,500 for your allotment. That's giving you an 8.33% increase in your allotments. Now, it's worth noting that it's been, and I'll defer to District 1 and District 4 on this because you all would know better than the rest of us. It's been a minute since you all got an increase in your allotments, right?
Never.
Never. So that's a long minute then. So $2,500 doesn't make up for all the years that you didn't get those increases. That's absolutely right. But I also think it's a very slippery slope and a dangerous conversation if we start saying we could definitely, and I think everybody up here would agree, we could use an additional $10,000 in each of your allotments. You could all benefit from that. We could use an additional $15,000. But $10,000 extra in your allotment would be a 33.33% increase that we're giving ourselves on those allotments. A $15,000 increase is a 50% increase that you're giving yourself as far as a raise on your allotment. And I know, and I can commit to everybody here, I don't think any member of this court is interested in asking you all to give us an extra, say, 33% or 50% raise on our allotments when we know you're not getting that. So I'm asking you all as members of the general public to please give us some grace and support this proposal of an 8.33% increase. I know it's more than CPI, but these folks up here have had to do a lot with a little for a long time, and I do think that a $2,500 increase this year is reasonable, and in future years, the commitment that they've made to do a lot with a little needs to be rewarded with those inflation increases. So, you'll notice, gentlemen, $2,500 increase in your allotment. What I would also propose, going back to an earlier point, to District 1's point, he made a tough decision to give $10,000 of his allotment to those folks, knowing good and well that was going to break him. And he did that because it needed to be done. I would like to propose, if the court would entertain it, I need a motion, a second, and prevailing vote if you'll entertain it. I would like to propose that instead of waiting for that additional $2,500 in your allotment next year, that we go ahead and give each one of you all in the remainder of this year, next year's $2,500 increase, so that Magistrate District 1 and District 4, where you're going to be short on that $10,000 that you have to put in for District 4 Humphrey Hollow Road project, I would be happy if you all would accept that proposal so that you'll each have $2,500 in this fiscal year. Is there a motion to that effect?
Can I say something?
Please do.
I
That's
really
District 1.
appreciate what you've just done, but can I ask the court to think about, at the end of June, not to take 10% of that, of whatever we got left, because we try to save. And if we save it and don't use it in that district, we lose 10% of that money. And that will not force us into spending that money for no reason.
Right, right on half. So specifically, your allotment loses the 10%.
Right.
Where does that money go, though, after, like, what he's talking about, the rollovers, which I want to be clear, that did not happen until this administration came in. And I hope she doesn't get mad at me for saying this, but that was even with a fair amount of protest from our county treasurer with the allotments, because that makes it very difficult then when you go to budget, because we've got a bunch of savers on the court, which is a good thing. So when they save that $30,000 that they get this year, say they maybe save $10,000 of that, you roll that over to next year. You roll 90% of that over. It used to be you couldn't roll over any of that. So it was use it or lose it, which I absolutely hate in government. That ends up, you buy all these tiles or all this, all that you maybe don't actually need. You end up having to store all this stuff and it gets damaged or it rusts over time. That was a horrible process just in general. The reason that there's a 10% withholding on that now, that doesn't go, and I don't want anybody here to think that 10% goes into some type of piggy bank or discretionary fund that the judge has where the judge can say, well, I like this or I don't like this. That 10% ends up rolling back into the road fund, which means that you all still have it to spend. The only difference is you all have to agree to spend it. So your allotments, that's you all deciding unilaterally, and then I sign off on it, of course, as long as it's legal and ethical, I sign off on it, no problem. You all have say over your allotment. But that rollover 10% that goes back into the road fund, if you all agree there's a project that's in $40,000 or $5,000 or $40, you all get to expend those funds. So I do want to make that clear that you're not, so to say, losing that. You lose it out of your allotment, so you lose unilateral control over it. But the rollover has provided you all with the opportunity to do more than a $30,000 project in a year. You can bank that money, and then if you have a $40,000 project, that's 100% unilateral decision on your part. So very good point on that, Magistrate District 1. Any other questions? Let me see, did we have a motion on the floor from that?
No, we're still in discussion, I think.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Can I
Yes.
make a comment?
Please do, please do.
Well, I'm still gonna go on the record as saying that I feel like that the allotments ought to be proportionate to the miles of road we've got. since I've got 20 more miles of road than some, you know. I have the same amount of money to keep up 20 extra miles of road, and it's hard to do. And a lot of my roads are on creeks and hollers that get washed out, so I'm just going to go on record as saying that.
Madam Clerk, I'd ask that you include that in the minutes, please. Any comments on that particular, well, either one, District 1 or District 2, an increase or a proportional increase based on the number of county road miles?
I have to say, yes, I agree with Blaine better.
I would imagine you do with your number of roads and his number of roads. I would think so. Just for point of discussion here, you're looking at roughly 76 miles, that's approximate, roughly 76 miles in District 2 and District 3. You're looking, I think, District 4, please correct me if this number's off, I think you've got maybe 72 miles-ish. District 1, it's good in one way, but bad in another if you go this route, but good that you've got less roads there. You've got about 56 miles in yours, and quite a bit of town.
We just have redistrict the districts.
That's right.
And that give more roads to him, but it took people from
wanna
mine,
give those back?
because I have more people in my district.
Can I give them back?
I think that could be a discussion. What'd you say about people in your district? You've got quite a few people in your district, but now I think with the redistricting, that of course took roads and people out of your district, and you also got them.
I think I got them too. I think I've got more people.
Yeah, you do have the most people, voters in your district now, all the districts, so. Very, very good discussion on all of that. At this time, I'll ask again, I'll only ask one more time. If you don't want it, you don't have to do it. But I will ask for a motion and a second and prevailing vote, if it be the will of the court, to allow, this is not on the budget. This is a first reading of the budget, but specifically in the budget to allow for you all to have your additional $2,500 for next year, for this year, so that gives you something to work with now. Is there a motion to that effect?
Motion.
So moved by the Magistrate District 1, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Magistrate District 4, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. That constitutes the first reading on the budget. County Treasurer Stacey Thrasher, Budget Committee Chair, Budget Committee member Lane Coe, thank you all for a very, very, very long committee meeting. Appreciate you all investing time in that. Notice of upcoming review of Administrative Code. Gentlemen, if you have any changes that we need to make to the Administrative Code, please let me know that. Remember, that comes up every June, and we have to vote on those together. So if you have any of those changes, get those to me just as quickly as possible so they can be included in the June meeting. Letter Q, invitation from the VFW and American Legion for the Memorial Day event on the courthouse lawn, right out here, or I guess left out here, on the courthouse lawn at the flagpole on May the 26th, 9 a.m. The American Legion and the VFW post, they are inviting us as members of the court. I would hope that you could make an effort to be there if it works with your schedule. They've done this for the last several years. I've been at each of those. It's a very, very nice ceremony. It's not lengthy, very nice ceremony. If you can be there in support of them, I will be there, and several members of our youngest group will also. This time we'll move to the final item on the agenda, county staff and personnel. Mr. County Attorney, what I'd like to do is ask you at this point if you would reference the specific KRS that would allow us to go into executive session for a potential hiring decision.
It's KRS 61-810 sub F.
Thank you very much. Now, before we entertain a motion second and hopefully a prevailing vote, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. As is always the case when we go into executive session, you are welcome to stay. Those chairs are taxpayer funded, so if you want to continue to sit in them, sit in them. I can't tell you how long this discussion will last, but it is a deliberation on a potential hiring. It is for the advertised position over at the Justice Center. If you'd like to stay, you're welcome to stay. If not, the video will be posted on YouTube later. So if you wish to go home, spend some time with family, and enjoy a supper, you can catch us on YouTube later. Thank you all for being here. For those that do leave, we'll see you in a couple minutes to those that choose to stay. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
So moved by the Magistrate District 2, seconded by the Magistrate District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. Motion passed. Gentlemen, please make sure that you leave your cell phones out here on this table. Please make sure you leave your cell phones on the table. Thank you very much.
Well, I was hoping I was losing it, just keep going next year.
I said, "Now, seldom they'll kick me out."
I thought the safer was there was a long trial, there was a lot of smoke. At the very end. But yeah. Yes.
I can still understand that.
You were right.
Good word.
That's awkward. Sorry, Larry. This time, I'll entertain a motion to return from executive session.
So moved.
So moved by the manager of District 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the manager of District 4. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Returning from executive session, I'd like for it to be recorded in the minutes that no action was taken in executive session, only discussion was had. At this time, as a result of the discussion, the productive discussion that occurred while in executive session, I'd like to recommend to the court that Ms. Carolyn Beatty be hired on a part-time basis for the janitorial position at the Cumberland County Justice Center pending all onboarding documentation. If she accepts this, that documentation will need to be taken care of naturally before she starts work. If she accepts, she'll be accepting a position that is part-time in the interim at $13 an hour. That part-time position would be for a period of 30 days to begin. The discussion led to a position of the court where I believe they would allow me to do a performance evaluation on you on those first 30 days, and then the court will reconvene to take a look, as will you, looking at whether or not you like the job and that's a job that you feel like that you can do, if it was what you expected. So with that, again, my recommendation based on the discussion is Ms. Carolyn Beatty, part-time, $13 an hour. I will revisit with her in approximately 30 days on a performance review so as to coincide with our next fiscal court meeting, so we don't have to have a special call just for that. Is there a motion accepting that nomination?
Motion.
So moved by the manager of District 4. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the manager of District 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you and congratulations, Carolyn. Appreciate your willingness to serve the taxpayers of Cumberland County. Yes.
Judge, can you tell us what the effective date would be?
As of tomorrow. Effective date tomorrow. Yes, thank you, Stacy. At this time, I would like for you all to refer to the back part of your packets. You should have, I do believe, one of our youngest team members included in there some invoices that were provided to the court from a constituent in District 2. And I'll go over them. It's very brief if you don't have those handy. Mr. Mark Shelley was very, very kind to Cumberland County taxpayers in that instead of asking the Cumberland County Road Department to take time out of their already busy schedules, he took his equipment, his time, and fixed a county road issue. It wasn't private property, but a county road issue. He incurred all of those expenses. What he's now asking, though, is if, since he has the documentation of the materials there, since he did the labor, he provided the equipment, he would like for the court to consider, Magistrate District 2, correct me if I'm wrong on this, the information that was provided to the court, he'd like to ask the court for reimbursement on just those materials, not including any sales tax, not including labor, not including equipment, actually. He wanted to do that because he appreciates all members of the Cumberland County Fiscal Court and the road department staying on top of things with everything we've got going on with FEMA and all these storms. He wanted to do that as a way to give back. He is asking just for consideration on the materials. Is there any discussion from the court on that?
Well, it was during a time, and Ricky will corroborate this with me, I think, that we were run to death with those storms and everything, so, you know, he furnished his own equipment and all this time doing it and paid for all the materials, and I think that, we could reimburse for the materials and we still come out to the good on that.
I don't disagree with that. Is that in the form of a motion, Magistrate District 2?
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
So moved by the Magistrate District 2, seconded by the Magistrate District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion passes. Is there any further new business that needs to come before the meeting at this time?
Judge, I have one more thing.
Yes, Magistrate.
Cemetery Road, we've looked that over, and Ricky Reed, it's a 1.1 of a mile. Is that correct?
0.15 miles, is that correct, Ricky? Okay, so what we'll do, I appreciate you bringing that up, Master District 1. So that Lawson Cemetery Road that we had a first reading on at the last special call meeting, we need to have a new first reading on that. So constitute a new first reading, we're saying from start to 0.15 miles. And that's what we'll end up having to advertise. So 0 to 0.15 miles on Lawson Cemetery Road, that's the proposed name, Lawson Cemetery Road, for county road system. That is changing the information we shared at the last meeting, so that is a correction. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Anything further from any member of the court?
Judge, I have one thing I wanted to bring up, and it's,
Yes, sir.
It's about the bridge on Skipper Lane. The state come in and inspected and condemned that bridge and ordered us to barricade that. And it's barricaded up, and you know, and the folks can't access the property. You know, it saddens me that they're left without access to their property with that. But I think it would probably benefit them, and if that, because it's hard to get funded. We've got one household behind that bridge, and you know, it don't have a lot of economic impact, you know, on the general public. So with just one household back there, so I'm not looking to get that funded. I mean, I don't mean to be negative about it, but.
And to be fair on that point, sorry if you don't mind me interrupting, but the state, I think we all agree, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet officials, they have been incredibly generous. You saw that in tonight's meeting. They've been incredibly generous to Cumberland County Fiscal Court, and we do appreciate that. In the event that they're watching later, Secretary Gray, if you're watching later, we appreciate you. But you are 100% right. When they look at those roads, if it serves one residence and no business, the chances of us getting funding from the state that they're already severely limited on, it's slim, if not none. You are correct.
And that road's just 449 feet in there.
449 feet.
Yes, and and I agree, you know, the state with Rondell's Bridge up there and Jeff's too, they've been very generous with the county. But I believe this was going to be harder to get funding on, and I believe if we took it off county maintenance, that it would be in their best interest and ours too, because it'd be
use that quicker.
Yeah, and it'd be much cheaper for them to repair. We're going to have so many regulations on repairs. It's going to cost us a lot more to make that road safe than it would them.
Mr. County Attorney, are we on our own, as far as legal grounds, to return that to the taxpayers and allow them, then if it goes back to private property, allow them to then have that as their property, they travel it, it can no longer be condemned, they can't be told that they can't use it, they can have access back to their house? Is that permissible?
Yes, we have to go through the statutory process that, you know, the court's been through many times before, putting roads on, taking roads off. There's a process prescribed by statute. As long as y'all do that, it's not illegal or impermissible.
Magistrate District 2, are you proposing that because of all those reasons then, and in order to give that property back to those taxpayers and let them have access to travel that road more freely without those blockades, is that a motion, or not a motion rather, but what you would like to constitute a first reading?
That's what I'm proposing.
Okay, with that being said, we do need some specifics on that. Are you proposing the entire 449 feet of Skipper Lane be removed, given back to those property owners?
Yes.
Okay, that will be documentation that we will then advertise indicating that the entire road, 449 feet, we do have to indicate the number of feet, so that's the entire road, will be considered at a second reading, which is where a vote will occur. And then at that time, if a vote passes, those people get their property back, and that's up to them, and they can travel it then back instead of being told they can't. So, Magistrate District 2, is that correct?
Yes.
Any questions on that? If not, thank you very much for that additional comment. This time, is there any further discussion from any member of the court which should be brought before the meeting?
I got one, Judge.
Master District 3, yes, sir.
Senator,
Yes, District 3, when she came by earlier, and sorry we didn't talk about this before the meeting, she was in 15 minutes before the meeting was. You tell me if I've got all the details right here. Sandra Huddleston would like to close just 100 and something feet. 175 feet on Joe Davidson Road. Is that your understanding too? So right now, that road is a county road, and that road right now is being used by her neighbor to access their cattle lot. Now, it's my understanding, and I have not been out there since she came up here today, but it is my understanding that that property owner has another way into their property, which is also a county road. So they do have access to that. I did give her, just so you know, and for members of the court, be aware, for maybe the next meeting, hopefully you'll see that. I'd love to get as many of these county roads off the county road system as people are willing to take off, because that cuts down on Ricky and the crew's maintenance of them and the taxpayer expense. I did give her a draft of the road petition, so she has that for her signature, and then that neighboring property owner. She's going to follow up with him, explain the situation to him, and then ask for, I said him, I made an assumption based on what she shared with me, and then if he's married or have any other folks that have interest in that property, they will also have to sign. But I would hope that if they want it off, they'll get that back to us timely, and we'll have first reading, second reading, and then remove them. I appreciate your work on that.
Also, Ed.
Yes, sir.
While we're out on this subject, this guy's already requested for a new cattle crossing to be put in. And the one that's in there could collapse at any time. And, really shouldn't have been put on the county anyway with a cattle crossing.
It shouldn't.
I mean, shouldn't have been there. But I'm just saying, if that collapses, I mean, we're looking at either putting him in well, you couldn't put a culvert in because then he's gonna put a fence in, keep his cattle in there. So he's gonna be looking for a cattle crossing to be put in, that's what he's.
Yeah, and I don't know the gentleman that owns that property at all, so if he's watching it later, none of us are trying to be negative there. But this is one of the problems that we run into with rural county roads all across Kentucky. There is a reason that there is a stereotype and a stigma and some negativity around county roads that are, quote, private drives, or county roads that service a cattle field. That is frustrating. Now, I will say, again, that no member of this court put that road on, but that's another one of those things where we do have to answer for it now because it is part of the county road system. So I do hope they ask to take it off. We do have some recourse there as far as taking that off the county road system. Magistrate District 3, you have the allotment that we've talked about with everybody as far as the funding there. I know you have been a hawk when it comes to spending taxpayer money wisely, so I know this one probably gives you some concern the way it does me. Anytime we're investing $100 or $100,000 into a project, which that was not $100,000, but we want to make sure that it benefits more than a single property owner to District 2's over point. So I'll keep you both updated on that petition if it comes back in, and we'll explore those next steps as it does.
The land on both sides.
Up to it.
All the way down to it, yes.
Okay.
It would be the ideal thing if you should fix it.
I think it would help, yeah. I think that would be a huge help. Yeah, I agree. So I'll keep you both updated on that, and make you aware of next steps as we get there. Thank you very much, Master District 3.
Judge, I have one more question.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't want to be the dead horse to death, but I would just like to make it clear, we got a clear understanding of the project on Humphrey Hollow Road.
Okay.
Is the top, cost. Have we know how much concrete we're going to use? Was there
We do not know how much concrete we're going to use. That is correct. In that bid that was accepted, there is not a fixed amount of concrete, and that is on Cumberland County Fiscal Court. If it's high, if it's low, if it's average, that's on us.
Well, they was asking, can we stop the project if it goes over but you can't stop it, you gotta
That is
fix the road.
correct. You
So,
cannot stop it.
I just wanted to make sure if he had it all figured, if he had it itemized, as to what it was gonna cost. Do you know, Jeff, if he?
He said it wasn't, I mean, the high, but, I mean, I don't figure it'll be no more than the 74,000.
And this is his first agreement.
Yes, 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 yes.
I think if
This is 85,000, Jim.
Well, the high end is 88,941 was an estimate.
Yeah, and let's be clear, hang on, let's bring it back.
Yeah.
Those are maximum and minimums, you're correct. That is not a bid.
Right.
So if it goes 188,000, what was accepted was, we are capped at what we pay him on his labor, but those materials, they'll be what they'll be. I mean, that's the way that was accepted. And we don't know the price of those. Now, on the $88,000 there, that was also for a totally separate bid. That was if he did it all. This is not, he's doing the labor. Master District 4.
Right, yes.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure we didn't exceed that, you know, by us doing the material.
Yeah, we won't exceed the labor part because it's fixed.
Yeah, I understand.
But there's not, I guess what I'm trying to tell you is the downside to this is there is no maximum to exceed on the materials. It is what the
I
materials.
just thought we had it broken down.
But, let me back up, that's a little animated, sorry for that. But I will say, we do have the opportunity here, since we are purchasing the materials, and we have to issue the POs for them. That, Master District 4, if you're okay with it, we'll work together on that, as far as making sure we don't go out and end up spending a ridiculous amount on those materials that puts us way over on the project. District 4, you
Right,
commit to
yeah.
working with me on that.
I'd just like to see, you know, if we get that done before we tear that out, and we know.
Get the
Tear
quotes
that
on
out,
those
It's too late, you know.
precast pieces, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
That, and figure out, get a breakdown on the concrete, what it's gonna cost, and break down the price on the covers, what they're gonna cost.
District 4, will you work with me on that this week? Get that, okay.
Ricky, you remember the one
I know.
we priced at $137,000 for prefab, so that concerned me too.
But that's on the thing, Judge,
I appreciate that. Very good. With a great deal of anxiety, I'll ask one more time, is there any new or unfinished business that any member of the court knows needs to come before this meeting? Go ahead. EM Director, Greg Carey, yes.
Thank you all.
Yes.
I stood at this podium, we started at Safer over there in 2016.
Yes.
That's when it was started. We finally got a bid with CNC contractors out of Boulder. And I stood at this podium, I hammered them pretty hard because they wouldn't participate and they wouldn't call, they wouldn't talk to us. Well, they did finish, they got it done, and he's been out about $7,000 to $8,000 more. I had a conversation with him today and told him, I said, I called and fussed when you wasn't doing what you're supposed to do. I just wanted to call today and tell you, I appreciate you doing what you've done. And I think we're going to get some paperwork to sign and send back to them. We still owe $3,000 and some odd dollars, I think, was what would be owed. But being it took so long, they're actually going to say we don't owe nothing if we agree with it and sign the paperwork and send it back to them. And I talked to Jeff, the magistrate over today, Jeff, and we're going to use creek rock for a base. And Johnny likes just a little bit, leveling things out of where it's washed at. And then we'll use the creek rock for base, and then, what'd you call it, gray rock?
No. That's what Edward called it, gray rock.
So put that up.
Gray rock.
So, but I just wanted, I stood here and hammered them, I wanted to verify that they did do what they said they would do.
And I think then with Master District 4's recommendation, creek rock is a very economical way to go on that is used for the county. We're benefiting taxpayers by doing that, saving money there. Also, District 4, want to make sure you're good then, since that's in your district, with us not having to pay that last $3,000 there too, right? So sign off on that, we're good to go on that.
Check me when I get that paperwork, if you say yes, we'll sign it and send it back.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. Thanks for working on that for years and years to get us where we are. Cumberland County taxpayers got that grant for $305,000. Well, that's the total project cost. Thanks to the grant that you worked so hard on, give you loads of credit for that. And District 4, all of the assisting that you helped on that. that meant that it only cost Cumberland County taxpayers about $60,000. That's not a bad deal for a place where about 100 people can go and shelter in a really bad storm. So, at this time, I would ask, arguably beg for a motion to adjourn from the Cumberland County Fiscal Court.
Motion.
So moved by Master District 1, seconded by Master District 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.